Known for its natural beauty and pristine beaches, Hilton Head Island is one of America's top destinations. But what makes this island so special is its incredible true history that surrounds visitors at every step.
Hilton Head has one of the most significant historical gems. Everywhere you go on the island, especially someplace like here in Fort Mitchell, these are the grounds that my grandfather walked on. This is exactly where he was fighting for not only his freedom, but our family's freedom and the freedom of enslaved people everywhere.
Fort Mitchell is now a place of tranquility and peace. But many years ago, it was surrounded by war. The year was 1862, and the Union Army was in a race against time to build what would become Fort Mitchell. There were reports of Confederate encampments on Pinckney Island, less than a mile away. And it was feared a volley of rebel cannon fire could destroy the fort before it was ever completed. Months earlier, the Union Army had invaded Hilton Head during the Battle of Port Royal. As part of the Union's blockade strategy, they desired a strategic base camp for all their southern missions. Located between Charleston and Savannah, Hilton Head Island was chosen as the ideal location. With around 75 vessels and 13,000 troops, the invasion of Hilton Head Island was the largest armada America had ever seen and would see up until the Allied invasion on D-Day. Within hours of the first cannon fire, Union troops stormed the island, only to discover that Confederate soldiers and plantation owners had already fled. All that remained were the abandoned fields and newly liberated slaves, whom were left behind to fend for themselves. Following the invasion, a 5-acre earthen fort was laid out on a bluff overlooking Skull Creek as part of a system of fortifications stretching across the island from Fort Sherman on Coggins Point Plantation to Skull Creek.
They're deep in Southern territory, and they were really concerned about the fact that the Confederates could be sending a large force after them, trying to dislodge them from the island, and they needed to do something about defense as quickly as they could.
Fort Mitchell is a classic example of a coastal earthworks gun battery of the Civil War era. Before constructing the fort, all trees in the area were removed. The earthen walls were built atop palmetto logs, known for their resistance to splintering even when hit by exploding shells. The fort utilized up to 6 cannon, either smoothbore or rifled, that were mounted on wooden platforms surrounded by sandbags. These could be used as lookout stations for observing activity up or down Skull Creek or on neighboring Pinckney Island. The location for Fort Mitchell was chosen because it was the narrowest section of Skull Creek and therefore the most easily defended, for the Union Army was under constant threat that an ironclad could sail up the creek and destroy its position. The fort was named in memory of General Ormsby McKnight Mitchell, who initiated the Mitchellville Project on Hilton Head Island. The significance of Fort Mitchell, however, far exceeds its structure, for the fort was part of a series of fortifications that protected the island and the newly formed encampment of Mitchellville.
Mitchellville is the first self-governed town of formerly enslaved people in the United States. Established in 1862, right here on Hilton Head Island. Born out of the aftermath of the Battle of Port Royal, which was an early victory for the Union, which liberated Hilton Head.
They had a hospital here, had their own mayor. The school was built right here, the church.
Mitchellville is a true American dream story. Folks who had nothing, folks who were considered nothing, creating a space where they function and function well. And it has impact. And we're still talking about it 158 years later.
And with places like Mitchellville, where freedom began, that's just a story that you can't tell anywhere else. It all happened right here in Mitchellville. And again, I will always refer to this place as the birthplace of our freedom.
When I think of my great-grandfather Caesar, he was one of tens of thousands of slaves who came from whatever situation or plantation they were in and came to risk their lives to get to Hilton Head and fight for the Union Army. It didn't matter what they had or where they were going, they just wanted to be here. Preserving sites such as Fort Mitchell is extremely important. This is really a treasured place. It's important to preserve places like this for generations to come.
Without the invaluable work the Heritage Library performs, the history of Fort Mitchell and Hilton Head could be lost. Now more than ever, it's vital to support the library on its mission, and together we'll keep this incredible American history alive for generations to come.